Welcome to this deep dive. We're taking the information you've shared and really digging into it today.
Yeah, we've got some fascinating and honestly pretty dramatic stuff from a recent news article.
Right, it's about that high-profile trial, the one related to the Kim Kardashian robbery back in 2016. And it sounds like it's wrapping up.
Exactly. This article gives us a snapshot right from the courtroom in Paris. It covers who's on trial, key moments, what the prosecution's asking for.
Okay, so our mission here is to pull out the really important bits from this piece.
We want to give you a clear picture of who these defendants are, what actually happened in court according to the source, and where things stand just before the verdict.
Let's get straight into it then. All right, maybe just a quick reminder first. The core event, October 2016, Kim Kardashian, armed robbery in her Paris hotel room. Huge news at the time.
Absolutely massive. And now, years later, we're seeing the legal conclusion, or close to it. The trial's been happening in Paris's Assize court. That's their court for, the really serious crimes.
And who's actually on trial?
It's a group. 9 men and 1 woman. Facing some heavy charges, stuff like armed robbery and kidnap in an organized gang.
Wow. Okay. And the timing. This article says the verdict is coming very, very soon.
Yeah, it specifically mentions Friday evening. So this is really fresh information right from the end of the proceedings.
Let's talk about the key people mentioned. The article seems to zoom in on a few defendants, starting with Amomar Aayit Kadik.
Right. Aayit Kadik, he's 69, described as a veteran gangster. The prosecution's case is that he was one of the main players actually held Ms. Kardashian at gunpoint.
And they have evidence.
Oh, yeah. Crucially, his DNA was found at the scene. Now, he apparently admitted being involved quite early on, but the prosecution, according to this article, claims he's now trying to downplay the violence involved, sort of minimizing his role, maybe.
Interesting. And he tried to point the finger elsewhere for being the mastermind.
He did. Denied being the leader, blamed some mysterious person called X or Ben, never identified apparently.
Poor Ben. Okay. But the prosecution pushed back hard on that.
They did.
Yeah.
The article says they argued there was ample proof Aayit Kadik was the one giving orders. And also that he tried to sell the stolen goods afterwards in Antwerp.
The article also mentioned something about his health.
Yeah, apparently he's in poor health now. Almost mute, partially deaf, which, probably factors in somehow.
And his final words in court sound quite dramatic.
Extremely. He offered 1,000 pardons. Couldn't really speak the words, apparently, so he scribbled apologies on paper that was shown in court.
Wow. And the article mentions Kim Kardashian had accepted an apology from the ringleader earlier in the trial?
Yes, it seems she did accept an emotional apology from him previously.
So what sentence did the prosecution ask for him, considering everything?
They requested 10 years. The article suggests this is maybe lower than you might expect for these charges.
Right, because of his age and health. And maybe low risk of doing it again.
Exactly. But they still made the point he needs to pay for his crimes.
Okay, who else is highlighted? Yunice Abbas. He's 72.
Yeah, Abbas. He's notable because, along with Aayit Kadik, he's the only other one mentioned who actually pleaded guilty.
But wait, there's something else about him. Didn't he write a book?
Uh-huh. Get this. While he was on remand, waiting for trial, he wrote and published a book called I Kidnapped Kim Kardashian.
You're kidding? Seriously?
Seriously. Quite something.
What were his final words in court then? Anything like his book title?
No, much more somber. Similar to Aayit Kadik, actually. He said, "Once again, I have nothing but regrets to offer you. I'm sorry for what I did."
And the requested sentence for him?
Also 10 years. Same as Aayit Kadik.
Okay. Then there's Didier Dubro, also 69.
Yes, Dubro. Allegedly the second robber who went into the penthouse with Aayit Kadik.
But his stance is different.
Completely. He denied everything, maintained his innocence throughout.
And the requested sentence, let me guess, 10 years.
You got it. 10 years requested for him, too.
All right, and the one woman defendant mentioned, Glutton, she's 78.
Glutton, yeah. Described as Aayit Kadik's former mistress.
And her position?
Like Dubro, she's pleaded innocent all along. Said again on Friday she had nothing to do with this case.
But the prosecution alleges she was involved.
They do. According to the article, they claim she helped with secretarial services, things like getting burner phones, and they also claim she traveled with Aayit Kadik to Antwerp, presumably to help sell the stolen jewelry.
It's really striking how old many of these key defendants are, 60s, 70s.
Absolutely. It's why they got that nickname, the Grandpa Robbers. It's not your typical profile for this kind of violent crime, is it?
Not at all. Now let's bring it back to Kim Kardashian herself. The article touched on her experience again.
Yeah, it mentions her testimony from just last week. Very emotional, apparently. She described being terrified during the robbery, being certain I was going to die.
Understandable, and the sheer value of what was taken.
Immense. The article puts it at $10 million worth of jewelry. And that $4 million engagement ring, specifically mentioned as never recovered. Gone.
But as we said, she did accept an apology from Aayit Kadik during the trial.
Yes, that was noted. An interesting dynamic there.
And there's that fascinating detail about her own life recently.
Oh, right. Qualifying as an attorney this month. After 6 years of study.
Yeah, apparently wants to fight for justice. The article links it to her father, Robert Kardashian, the famous lawyer.
Adds another layer to the whole story, doesn't it?
Definitely. Okay, so back to the legal side. The potential sentences are high, right?
They are. The article mentions the maximum could be up to 30 years for these charges.
But the prosecution asked for 10 years for those three main guys we discussed.
Right. And the reason the article gives is, again, their age and poor health. It seems those factors are heavily influencing the sentencing requests.
What about the timing of arrests and the trial itself? It seems like a long process.
It really was. Most of them were arrested pretty quickly, like January 2017, just 3 months after the robbery. But then, interestingly, they were later released on bail. So they were actually free when the trial started this April.
So they weren't in custody during the trial itself.
Apparently not, based on that bail information. And the article also notes Mrs. Kardashian wasn't in court for these final statements on Friday.
But she was following from L.A.
Yes, keeping track from Los Angeles.
Okay, so let's try to pull this all together based on the article.
You've got this group, the grandpa robbers, mostly older guys, some admitting guilt, others denying it completely.
You have the victim, Kim Kardashian, who went through this terrifying ordeal, lost millions in jewels, but also accepted an apology in court, and is now an attorney herself.
Right, and then the legal process nearing its end with sentencing requests that seem, well, quite a bit lower than the maximum possible.
Apparently, due to the age and health of the defendants, it's a really unusual mix of factors.
Very unusual. High-profile victim, unexpectedly old perpetrators, a book written in remand. It's quite the case.
And the verdict is hanging in the balance right now.
Exactly. Expected any time.
So just thinking about everything this article highlights,
Yeah.
the ages, the health issues, even that book, does this specific case, make you think differently about consequences? Or maybe the weird turns life can take even when you're much older? Just something to consider, perhaps.